I'll let you go first. They said elders first. The gray on you already shows already.
That's a good shot. Is that for me? It's not just basically in dollars.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I have to start from that point.
Okay.
It's everywhere.
Okay.
As long as it's an African restaurant, particularly, I mean, I've been to a Ghanaian restaurant before in Maryland. I've been to a Kenyan restaurant before in Maryland as well, and Nigerian restaurants. Because I'm Nigerian, so I'll first of all go for our food, then, But it's almost like the same style that depicts that African, nature. And I still really, really wonder why it's like that. If I go to a cheesecake factory, if I go to a Red Lobster, if I go to name other restaurants, please, American restaurants that you are the
I love the way you make it.
You are the high taste kind of restaurant. We are the normal.
I love the way that you make it seem like
expensive.
I love the way you make it seem like I'm not.
Life is too simple. I don't have.
I'm a very simple person. I think to answer your question, I think it comes out to two things. First thing is, what are our expectations as Africans? Secondly, it is a phrase that I have started imbibing in my life personally. What you choose not to do, you're choosing to do.
What you choose not to do,
you are choosing to do. We choose not to force them. By you going to an African restaurant that doesn't have the fine dining experience, you are choosing not to force them to create a fine dining experience.
Well, in the first place, why am I to force them?
No, you have your dollars. Everyone votes for their dollars.
Well, I mean, I can have my Naira as well.
Well, whatever you
want.
But
not in the US. So,
you're voting, if a fine dining experience is not that restaurant's main objective, but then you still keep investing your dollars there, right? How do you expect them to change?
I mean, it's just expected. Let me give you an example of what I mean by it's just expected. Your dining experience is in a location that you know that definitely your orientation has changed. You have configured into a system, into a culture, into a way of life.
So why do
you've been to other restaurants, even though you want to be African, but let your African still be in a standard rate and expectation of how a standard restaurant should be.
I don't disagree.
To have a dining experience. So it's not basically about because you are African or because it's us. You don't have to wait for us, who are your consumers or your customers, to come and dictate that for you. You should know.
I think you can't look at it that way. And the reason why I say you can't look at it that way is because of two facts. Facts number one, right? Regardless of your expectations or what you envision they should be doing, you still go there. It goes back to what I said earlier. You are still deciding to vote with your monetary vote that I still like you as a restaurant. If you stop going and other people stop going, they will have to change because they'll see a loss of revenue. People vote with their money. Well, yes, you vote by ballots and everything, but in an economic scale, you vote by your money. If a company starts to lose money, they will change their mission. They would change their trajectory. They would change the way they do business, right? Secondly, I think it's a duality of two things. And two things can be right, two things can be wrong. First thing is the fact that you're not voting with your money, so you're leaving the expectations. Secondly, it is not, regardless of whatever, anything, they know an average African is still going to go to the restaurant and still pick up food. Because why? It is just in the past 5 years, is probably when Nigerian food became popular globally. Would you admit to that?
Yes.
Because it wasn't like people...
Yeah, within the past 5 years.
It's not because people before were not eating jollof rice or whatever, or suya. Past 5 years ago, it wasn't a socially norm thing, right? So if I'm a restaurant and I know Jetty just comes and does takeaway, why do I need to create fine dining? Jetty and 95% of Africans just want thing. They don't really care that the place looks dingy. They don't care if the place looks a certain way, right?
But that's the problem.
No.
Why is it that they don't care?
Because you have not pushed it for them to care.
Why do I have to? No, I don't agree with you.
You see, you have to understand.
It's just expected.
No, a business relates to a customer base. What is that customer base asking? I cannot come and put fine dining in Oak Cliff.
Why?
Because that clientele doesn't care for fine dining. I could put fine dining in downtown Dallas.
So now you're talking about location.
What I'm saying is, what is the clientele looking for? For us Africans, forget about location.
I don't agree with you.
Let me back out of the location part.
But there's still a Red Lobster in Oak Cliff, isn't there?
Red Lobster is not fine dining.
No, but it's still a kind of restaurant that you can still go in and have a dining experience.
Okay, let's stick with Dallas. You have Lola's Kitchen.
Yes.
You have Salt and Pepper.
Yes.
Would you say the dining experience in those restaurants match a Texas Roadhouse?
How? In what comparison? No, I mean, I'm trying to understand you though.
Okay, you know what? Let's back up.
Yeah.
What is the definition of fine dining or dining experience to you? What determines that you give a restaurant?
The fine dining experience for me, my definition is from the door.
Okay.
My walking into the door, how I'm received.
Okay.
What I'm walking into.
Okay.
The atmosphere.
Okay.
Is it happy? Is it clean? Is it an atmosphere of, oh, I feel so relaxed.
Okay.
I feel so okay.
So you're
then
not
there's
talking
kind of table settings.
So you're
what
not
you put on the table.
So you're not
then when
talking.
I sit down, when I wait for either the waiter to come or I'm looking for a waiter to come and attend to me, or how I place the order, how it is being received. And then when the food comes, the time taken for it to come.
Are you looking for a place where the bill is going to be?
You asked me what is
I'm asking,
the definition of a dining experience.
And I'm progressing. Are you asking for a place where the bill is going to be $100 and something, or where the bill is going to be $30?
No, the bill
is
not about the amount.
Okay, all right.
Now the amount is another experience. How
Okay.
do you bill me? How do I know what I'm?
Okay, all right. So with that said, right?
Yeah.
So let's just use a common restaurant that is known across the country, Texas Roadhouse.
Okay.
You walk in, they're usually very
Welcome to Texas Roadhouse.
Welcome to Texas Roadhouse. You sit down. By the time they sit down, they already give you the rolls.
The place is filled up.
The place
you
is
are in
filled
a waiting list.
Their music.
There's granite for you to eat.
There
or
you
peanuts.
go.
Because here it is peanuts. At home is granite.
So from start to finish, there's an experience when they meet you at the door
Yes.
to when you leave.
Yes.
There is a continuous conversation,
Yes.
right? Why do you keep going to Lola's Kitchen for fish and plantain when you can just say, I'm going to use my dollars that I use for Lola's Kitchen, and because I don't like the experience of Lola's Kitchen.
Yeah.
And please understand, this is not a nag on Lola's Kitchen or any.
No, it's not. No,
So it's just an
I get what
example.
you're saying, and I'm going to answer you.
You take those dollars because they don't give you the dining experience and take it to Texas Roadhouse.
Yes.
Why don't you do that?
Do you have a particular coffee shop you go to every time in your life? Tea?
I don't drink tea.
What do you drink?
Vitamin water.
Do you have a particular shop you go to get vitamin water?
It's free in the office.
No. Do you answer my question?
I don't have a particular store for it.
Thank you. But is it only vitamin water you drink or you feel like drinking every time?
It's usually vitamin water.
No, you didn't answer the question. Is it only vitamin water you feel like drinking every time?
No.
Exactly. So for the fact that I love to eat fish at this time, I will go to a Lola's restaurant because a Texas Roadhouse will give me salmon
and
as a meal, not fish and plantain.
Okay, that's
real
okay.
fish. So
yeah, but then you cannot complain then
about
not having a dining experience.
Why?
Because you're the one that chose to still go there.
No,
yes.
No, I don't agree with you.
You chose to go somewhere.
Whichever one I choose,
yes,
I must have a beautiful service of a dining experience.
If you don't have a dining experience, if you don't have a good experience, why do you keep going back?
Because I love the food. I love the taste.
So you're complacent then.
Complacent how?
You are guilty of the fact that they are not willing to change.
It's their business, not mine. Literally.
You chose.
What I just said now is amazing. Normally I'm like, it's your business. But truthfully, in literal sense, it's their business.
And their business
How
is not.
they take care of it will determine if I'm going to
walk.
Wait, it's one of the factors that will determine if I'll walk in, get the food and get out, or I'll walk in, sit down.
And that brings me to the final point.
Yeah.
Most African businesses do not care if you come in and out.
So how is that my problem? That's why I say it's their business.
Most African, because they know Africans like both of us, don't care about the dining experience when it comes to Nigerian restaurant. We do not hold them at that standard.
So if you look at icon restaurants
so like for example, even icon restaurants.
Do you think people hold them to that expectation.
Icon restaurant.
The guy decided to give a different
I
feel.
think Icon restaurant is the anomaly.
Have you been? There's a restaurant in Houston. It's called Safari. Have you been there?
I've been to Safari.
No. Which Safari do you think I'm talking about?
The one in Houston now.
Which one?
Are there two?
Is it Safari Lounge you're talking about?
No, the actual restaurant. Is it a lounge or restaurant?
There is a lounge and there's a restaurant.
Okay, let's keep going.
So, no, have you been to the restaurant? They're in two different locations. It's a coincidence that they share the name. It's not the same business.
It wasn't a lounge like a party.
It was made the local way.
Yes.
It's a pure traditional cultural local food.
And that's okay.
Do you understand?
And that's okay.
They designed the dining experience to fit what they offer as a service.
And then, okay, well, let's use that restaurant as an example, right? Compared to the revenue, because we don't know how much those places make. Compared to the revenue of those other restaurants that are in Houston, what is Safari? What do you think? Do you see more clientele going to Safari?
Oh, they do.
Okay, so
People do 2 a.m., 3 a.m.
Okay, so
They still eat good pounded yam and okra
okay,
soup.
do people?
Good oha soup.
Okay,
Good vegetable
okay.
soup.
If Safari did not exist, would Africans leave the African market?
No.
Okay, so it gets to what I'm trying to say. For one, we haven't pushed them to have a dining experience. Two, right? They themselves don't care about the dining experience. It's all about dollars and
Then
cents.
what about reviews? Reviews should help.
I promise you, if you're going to look at reviews,
Yes.
people will still go to African restaurants. There's enough of us that your reviews is not going to. But then thirdly, how many Africans actually read the reviews from an African place not to go to an African restaurant? If you do, you're not knowledge. So do not think that the average person does. If I need jollof rice, I'm going to Yem Shade. If I go to Osuma, up north, if it's up north, it's going. If I need suya, up north it's going to be Osuma.
Yeah.
Down south it's going to be suya store. There are certain restaurants that I know are known for. If I need fish and plantain, either Aggie's in Dallas or Lola's Kitchen
In Irving.
in Irving, right? There are certain places you go to. So if I need panayam and maybe swallow, I'm going to go to Crown Cafe in Arlington.
Okay. Have you been to famous Princess African Kitchen in
Where's
Houston,
that?
Katy, Texas?
No, Houston
Oh my God.
that's why we're stuck with Dallas. You see, I'm not familiar with
Oh my.
how's the dining experience at Safari compared to,
Amazing.
okay, why is that amazing compared to Safari?
Good. Now, this is a place that depicts African culture. Even in the design, the setting, the interior setup.
Okay.
Let me finish. Now, it's so good that there are people, even if you wait for your food that you are doing to go, you're not doing to go because the place is not comfortable. You are doing to go because it was a choice in that restaurant. Where you sit, you are still very comfortable in that atmosphere.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Okay.
That's what we're talking about. It's part of the dining
I'm
experience.
not-
Now, when you sit down and order, the way they bring the food to you, oh my God. I have videos. I'm sure possibly we're going to show a clip or two. You need to see the way the food is being dished.
I have a question
You need to
then,
see what they use. That's part of what I'm saying.
If you don't mind me asking, could it be that the fact that, you know what, you lived in Maryland majority of your
Yes.
life, right? How the dining experiences in Maryland compared to Houston? Is this the same thing as Dallas?
It's I would say it's just basically the way
Dallas is
African restaurants are set up.
okay. All right. So
Do you
okay.
understand my point?
Okay, no. Just give me a second. So to go
Like
with
I
that,
feel it could be better.
it's okay. So as an accountant, I'm thinking financial, and let me explain to you why I'm thinking financial.
How does finance relate to
Well,
dining?
let me get when you were talking. I didn't
All right,
believe
go ahead.
your point.
Go ahead.
Is it a point of supply and demand?
In what sense? Supply and demand economics.
Yes.
Explain to me why you're asking the question so I can know how
Because
to answer.
in Houston, there's a lot of demand, right? Mm-hmm. There's also a lot of supply of Africans. Mm-hmm. So you need to if you want to push yourself, you have to be in a niche of creating a niche for yourself that kind of pushes everyone out differently from what you are.
Yeah.
So you have the safaris. And what's the second restaurant you said? Sorry, I didn't get the name.
The famous Princess African Kitchen.
The famous Princess African Kitchen.
Yes.
So those ones have now Because for the longest, what was the one that everyone used to go to? That was like a buffet one.
Buffet?
Yeah, it was a buffet.
Is this Southwest Farmers? No.
No.
Is it an African or
It's
an
an
American?
African restaurant, but there's Amala Huts and all these other things.
Oh, Amala Zone?
The Amala Zone. And
Yeah,
all
Amala Zone in Houston.
Yeah, I think it's off beach or something like that. That's what I think.
Off beach don't.
It's okay.
No, this one is on West Taiwan Highway.
Okay,
6.
maybe that's where it is. But it's okay.
Yeah.
Let's not confuse that. So, but in Dallas, the number of African restaurants, Nigerian restaurants, because I'm from Nigeria, so can only speak about Nigerian restaurants. I don't know all the other African restaurants. I don't want to assume, right? So the number of Nigerian restaurants are very few. They're scattered. So I don't need to give it to you because.
Have you been to Swahili Village?
Where's Swahili Village?
Ooh.
Is that in Houston too?
No, it's not. It's in DMV. I just remembered. Sorry,
Okay.
I had to cut you.
Okay.
I just remembered. And there's a reason why. Okay, you finish your point. I'll tell
What
you why
I'm
I
trying to
mentioned
say is that
Swahili.
in Dallas, because they're so spread out, right?
Yeah.
People go to the one it's a communal
Closest to
thing,
them.
closest to them, and because I know that you're forced to come to the closest to them, closest to you, right? I don't need to try that hard to get your clientele.
I see what you're talking about,
But in Houston, right?
that is still a laid back flaw.
Yes,
On the part of the business.
it takes two to tango. If a
In
business
bus-
a
okay.
business sets up a very good environment,
Yeah.
right, and people don't come, you lose
so
money.
why am I counter that?
Because it is easier to reach low for the average person that doesn't care.
Why I'll counter that?
Okay.
I have 2 restaurants as examples.
Okay.
Continental DC.
Okay.
It just opened like few months ago in DC.
Okay.
The guys who run it are my guys.
Okay.
So much that even one of them, he wears the chef uniform.
I think you just
Like,
no, wait. Sorry to cut you off. Is it then?
Have I finished?
It's okay. You don't have to finish.
I will finish.
No, is it okay?
Just to make you understand, there's a way we can represent.
Is it a generational thing? Because
No.
because majority of those other
It's
restaurants.
not a generational.
It's just-
One would have thought everybody's not. Listen,
Are those other
when you
restaurants
get to
were
that
they
place,
owned by people our age?
you see that place, and also the Continental DC and Swahili Village
How-
are the 2 Nigerian African restaurants that at least Swahili Village is not Nigerian, it's Kenyan.
Okay.
Are the 2 African restaurants I have seen
How
that
did
when
the owners,
you walk in.
How old are the owners?
Why would me asking for the age of the owners? I'm
Because-
sure the Swahili owner is older.
How much older?
I don't know because it's been there. It's been a long time, and I want to counter your point, thinking of maybe it's a location. That's why
No,
it's the
I'm not-
closest.
I'm not
That's
talking-
why it's the closest.
I'm not
to
talking
you.
about location.
Blah,
I'm
no,
not-
you mentioned it earlier on.
I'm saying in Dallas. That's why I said
No,
Dallas.
you said if they are spread across, that possibly the one closest to you
I am using
is the
that.
reason why the business owner would not bother setting a proper dining experience because they already know that there is a market for them.
I'm talking about Dallas.
And now-
Most people are not willing to drive from Grand Prairie or Irving.
Oh, do you think in other states they're willing to drive?
DMV is kind of mixed all.
No. There are people who live in Baltimore. Those who are watching, who are familiar with DMV will understand what I'm saying. They live in Baltimore.
Yeah.
They come all the way to Beltsville. That's over 50 minutes drive
Okay.
to Swahili Village.
Okay. Can you see someone doing that?
Do you understand?
Can you see someone doing that in Dallas?
How do I know about Dallas? You know more about Dallas than myself.
You've lived in Dallas for a couple of years.
But you lived more in Dallas
Yes.
than myself.
I don't see people doing that.
You visited the DMV, haven't you? But I lived in DMV.
I can see people doing that in DMV. I don't see
I
that.
lived in DMV. You can't tell. Listen,
You
I
don't
know what I'm
understand.
telling
We're
you.
saying the same thing.
What drew people to that place is the dining experience and the good food. Because you see, it was until later I knew it was even owned by a Kenyan. It was so African representing, like you can't even trace where.
So
You need to see the way
so
your
you're
food is
saying-
being ordered.
So you're
You
saying
need to see the way you are being seated.
So-
you need to see a beautiful and get African music is playing.
So
like,
your perspective is this: people are willing to go
this guy's not
somewhere.
even allowing me drive home the point. You don't want me to get my home run.
You don't need to get the home run.
I will get the home run.
Jesus will get the home run.
Continental DC?
It's
oh,
okay.
shoot. They can as well say, oh, they're
Please,
in DC.
Continental
Let
DC,
them
if you're watching this,
let them-
please,
let them,
please,
the Continental in DC.
please,
let them as well just,
please,
okay, do
Continental,
it. It's a
please,
Nigerian
Continental
restaurant.
DC.
Come on.
If you're looking to do a sponsor, please sponsor Jetty because it seems
Please,
like
they don't need to sponsor me. It's a good place to go and eat.
Okay.
The dining experience is amazing.
I don't disagree with what you're saying.
Look, you will never.
Is it?
Oh.
Okay, let's get back on track. Is it the fact that at the end of the day, people go to what is offered to them?
I wouldn't say so.
Meaning this: if you offer me fine dining, that's what I want.
Yes.
If I don't have fine dining, I can still.
So are you saying it's based on what people want, or it's based on expectation?
Both?
How?
Because my expectations for Lola's Kitchen is not supposed to be fine dining, like Swahili, right? I go there, the food is great. I leave, like you said. You just said that. So, but if Lola's Kitchen pushes themselves, or let's stop using because I would hate for people to badmouth anything. If
did you badmouth them?
No,
Exactly.
I just very careful. So if the business owner now upgrades that restaurant,
Yes.
to be a fine dining,
Yes.
right, and it doesn't mean fine dining does not mean that you have all these things or a chef that holds this or a bottle. It can also be cultural. It just means that you have a great let's say we fine dining. You create a better dining experience. Is that a better term? If an African restaurant does that, people would want to go there, right? But if it's perfect example, we said Osuma and Suya Stop, right? Two Suya places, right? But even if there were food trucks, people would still go there, right? If they were in a brick and mortar place, people would still go there. So people are willing to increase their expectation of something when the reality meets it.
Do you know that people still enjoy dining experience at a food truck?
I don't disagree. We're talking about African places, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about the fact that you ask why is it that they don't increase it, right? Even if they increase it, they might not care. It probably is. You know what?
You're saying it like it's justifiable.
I'm saying it's because as a business owner, right? If it's dollars and cents for me, and I don't have to increase my thing, and I'm still going to make the same money, why do I care?
Wow.
If my clientele is still coming,
That says you've just spoken on behalf of the whole set, the whole discourse. You've just spoken. Wow.
It's the truth.
Wow.
Why is it that you have to understand one thing?
Wow.
I've learned something about fast.
Do you think that policy works across all businesses?
I said African. That's why I specified. Don't generalize everything. I said Africans. I said
Why Africans?
because at the end of the day,
That is not even nice or right.
at the end of the day, how can I say?
You just spoke as if Africans don't even deserve or they don't understand what it
I'm
is
not
to step
saying.
up. That's what you just said. Because I'm telling you, does it go across all businesses? You said African. Why particularly
Because
African?
at the end of the
Are
day,
there no Korean restaurants that they are not even up to standard? When you go for or Chinese Asian restaurants that you go for to order to go and this thing like that, one of the main dining experiences for such areas I just mentioned are the hibachi kind of restaurants where you see them prepare the food in front of you. That is an experience. That is an experience, and even when you go there,
I think the reason why I
they still
said
meet you at the door to sit you down.
The reason is this:
So you're saying because people come, money comes in, that's it. Then I don't care however the thing
people don't
is.
demand it.
No, I disagree.
People don't demand it.
They created it for people to come enjoy, see the
No,
experience,
there was
and give the word out.
No
Do you
business.
think someone demanded they should put someone in the middle of a dining setting and be
Yes.
cooking there? Who said so?
Because at the end of the day, people demand.
It was an idea, and
You
they
don't
inculcated
understand.
it.
No.
You can't tell me people.
No idea. No.
Come
business.
on.
Are you? No business is ever created. Businesses are created out of need.
Oh.
There's a need for something.
Oh.
So what's
So there's no need for the African, like you said.
no? A need is also meaning that there's a push. If Africans start pushing to have fine dining that they can take their colleagues that are different races or take them to a cultural thing, people will deliver it. See, the thing I've realized one thing in life is this, right? As businesses or as individuals, what we push for is what people will give us.
Have you been to, is it Kiza or what's the name in Dubai?
I've been to Kiza.
Is it Kiza?
I've been to Kiza.
There's a restaurant, then also they do lounge experience and
Yes.
club at night. So what will you say?
Disclaimer, I've been to the club, I've been to the restaurant before anyone comes.
It's the same building. Stop acting like one, because you're wearing suits. Stop acting like one righteous system.
Hallelujah.
Man. It was only once I went there.
Kiza in Dubai was great.
Yeah, it was only once I was
think-
shocked that even the staff that are not Nigerians, they know the food. The description they gave was amazing.
Kiza is not actually owned by, I don't think it's owned by Nigerians.
It is.
I don't think so.
It is.
Are you sure?
Oh, yes.
Okay, I might be wrong then because I was told something different.
See, definitely, please quote me if I'm wrong.
I don't know. That's
when I watch this. I know to own a business in the UAE
You have
area,
to do merge.
you have to collide with a resident or a citizen or a national of that place.
It was the same thing in Tunisia when I lived in Tunisia.
Yeah, so that's basically it. But that experience is my point.
Yes, because you know why? Let me explain to you. You cannot have the average type of African restaurant. No, you do. Let me put it this way. There's another restaurant on the south side of Dubai that one of my friends, right? Shout out to Ajabi, took me to, right? His name is Ajabi, took me there. And that restaurant in the south side of Dubai looks like a typical American restaurant. Typical American African restaurant. That's what I mean. No glitz, no keys, no same thing. What do you want? You collect, you go, right? That's the same thing, right? That was on the south side. So they were okay. I asked my friend how long they've been open for years. Their clientele come, people come, right? I think people go to where there's the need of what they want. Like you said, if I want salmon, right, I'll go to Texas Roadhouse. When I want fish and plantain, I will go
grilled fish and plantain.
I'll go to
grilled fish and plantain.
When there is a need that is created, something will suck up that
You all
need.
need to taste that grilled fish and plantain at Lola's Kitchen. It's a
So
good one.
I think the issue is this. When Africans start pushing for that need, right? For example, I think the need for Kiza in Dubai is more the fact that people go to Dubai and feel like I'm in this opulence, I need to eat fine dining. And so that need got created.
Not just fine dining. I have a taste for African food.
That's good. Whatever you want to tell yourself.
No, that's it.
Okay, so there isn't that need that has been created in Dallas. Because the question Shabak asked us was Dallas. There wasn't a need that's been created in Dallas where people were like, I want to have fine dining or fine dining experience in Dallas, right? But I wanted African. There hasn't been a push. You have people like Icon that started.
It doesn't have to.
You have to. Push. Any business idea that isn't come out is to fix a problem.
No.
Nothing comes out. There's a need. There's a future problem or there's a current problem. No business idea ever came up just because it came up.
No.
There is a future. It's to solve a problem.
So are you saying this studio now
is solve a problem?
No, hold on. Panache Media. Big shout out.
It's panache. If you're gonna say
like I was saying, big shout out. You are telling me that Shabak could have as well create a studio that has maybe baskets there with Ankara and things or rat running up and down, and this one one thing cat on there. No,
you see,
he is an African, but he saw the need of creating a standard for business in production. That is why you have a state-of-the-art studio that you and I are seated. An average person who has a restaurant knows that, look, you're not in Lagos. You are not in Abeokuta. You are not in Benin.
And to answer your question,
you are in the United States of America.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
God bless the United
Why
States.
Why can't you set up something of standard?
Because at the end of the day, Shabak,
do you know today we're still having issues?
Shabak did not create a studio for Africans.
Oh, so they that created the restaurant for Africans.
Wait, you said your own. Please, sir.
No, I didn't finish. You cut me.
Ice water.
No, I'm not going to stop. You cut me. You didn't allow me give my own wrong.
Ice water.
So like I was saying.
Ice water.
No, I will not agree on this one. You cut me.
Okay, cut you.
Good, you cut me. So you won't tell, I do not agree with the fact that someone who's trying to set up a restaurant, African restaurants, definitely is African food. You are targeting Africans basically, and you just decide, because I'm targeting Africans, I'll just do it this way. No.
Because at the end of the day, we give you what you demand.
Oh. And what do they demand?
at the end of the day, you are still going there. If you take away your vote, your voting power, which is your money, they will increase. But back to the question I said, Shabak built.
It's not about taking away.
Oh Lord Almighty! Shabak built a vision of a studio, not as an African. He built it as a minority owner to be able to offer
minority owner. So the ones that have the African restaurants, they're not minority owner.
They're minority owners.
Oh,
and they know people like you are from Mushi, and they will eat the rice.
So we in this studio here, Shabak doesn't know you're from Mushi or I'm from this thing.
Listen, I said I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Duh.
That's from Lupali.
Bro, the expectation is simple.
No, it's a simple.
Today there are people who still have issues with delivery. Not people talk of a dining experience. Delivery. You place an order and come on, man.
Let's find a way to wrap this up. So
it's very easy to wrap up. Step up the game. Simple.
It's to step up the game.
Step up the game.
But also, I would advise all African business owners, both restaurants and business owners, right? Look beyond what you're currently doing, right? And create a niche for yourself.
Yes.
And be able to think beyond what you're actually doing.
In addition, are you done?
No, because at the end of the day, when you're able to think beyond your race, beyond your gender, and beyond whatever you bring to the table, you bring more people to the table.
Well, in addition, it's very simple. It's what you create for the consumers that you get from the consumers. If you create a great dining experience, you will have more people who just want to come and sit, chill, have a drink, talk, eat, bring friends and all. But if you create just anyhow, because money is coming in, you will definitely be getting the money, but you'll just get people who will come, order and leave, who might even get angry, shouting the place, order, but they won't be happy to bring someone and say, let's meet here and have a dinner date. Let's meet here and talk over dinner. Let's go for dinner. If we don't have, we can't, it's not step up the game. Thank you very much. Is what I believe, man.
This is Olu, and that's Jedi.
My name is Oluwatosin Jedi. Your blessings.
Thanks so much for having us. Thank you.